So as India counts down to the big moon touchdown, ISRO has released new visuals of the moon captured by the lander position detection camera from an altitude of about 70 kilometers on the 9th of August 2023. Now, LPDC images assist the lander module in determining its position by matching them against an onboard moon reference map. ISRO further added that the mission is on schedule. Systems are undergoing regular checks and that the smooth sailing is continuing. Well, the latest images on your screens right now, latest visuals captured by the Chandrayaan-3, and it's just almost 29 hours left. 29 hours left, viewers, for the soft landing on moon when India will script history. All eyes, of course, are on the moon. A billion prayers for what's going to happen tomorrow. It's, of course, going to be very important. And right now, what we have is the latest visuals coming in from Chandrayaan-3, and my colleague Suyesha Sawant is live with us on the broadcast for more. Suyesha, if you can hear me, this of course is, everybody is waiting for this mega moment tomorrow, and since you are in Bengaluru, first of all, I would like to ask, how is the Josh in Bengaluru? What is the atmosphere like? What are the preparations like for that mega moment tomorrow?
Oh, I must say, Rakshita, that the Josh is very, very high, and I have been interacting with a lot of students and space enthusiasts here who are totally bracing for the big moment tomorrow. As is the message that ISRO is sending out, that it is all on track, and hopefully we should be able to achieve success through this mission. Now, again, as our scientists go on to say that all the errors that were there in Chandrayaan-2 have totally been corrected in Chandrayaan-3, which is why the challenges that we were really facing earlier on in terms of how it was designed, or even in terms of the landing plan that was designated the last time. For example, the landing site that was planned at 500 meters by 500 meters. This time that area has been increased to 4 kilometers by 2.5 kilometers. Also, how Chandrayaan-2 has hugely helped with the high definition imagery that it has sent. So even in terms of where Chandrayaan-3 will land, that has been decided based those images, and all the checks are being done. It is all moving smoothly. Then again, as S. Somnath has said, that even in cases of some error happening, but that does not mean that it will affect the mission or the spacecraft in any which way, because they have already covered up for that. So for example, not only does the lander module, and the lander to be specific, have stronger legs, it is more robust, there is higher fuel capacity, there are larger solar panels that are installed, but also in terms of how it is to make a vertical descent. What actually it has to achieve is the retardation of velocity at the right pace, which means at walking pace. So just when the spacecraft or the lander module is about 400 meters from the surface of the moon, it has to hover and then do a vertical descent at walking pace. If that is what can be achieved, then the lander module will make a soft landing on the moon, which as of now ISRO is predicting will happen at 6:04 p.m. tomorrow at the ISRO Tracking and Monitoring Center, from where we will be getting all the images. Then from there on, of course, we understand how the rover will detach itself from the lander. 2 payloads on the rover, 4 on the lander, and all the experiments largely to understand seismic activity, to understand the mineral composition on the moon, to understand what the gases and soil and the atmosphere of moon comprises. Most importantly, the presence of water, the presence of trapped ice, and how sustainable can life be on the moon. So this is exactly what Chandrayaan-3 aims to achieve through this mission. We saw how there was a lot of talk about lunar 25 versus Chandrayaan-3, and how Russia was racing against time with a shorter mission duration that was planned, and they were hoping to make that landing on the moon by the 21st. But that mission failed, despite being a more expensive mission, despite the fact that technologically it was much stronger. Even in terms of the payload, that was a spacecraft that was 1750 50 kgs, whereas Chandrayaan-3 is 3,900 kgs. So in all those ways, Chandrayaan-3 again plans to perform experiments for 1 lunar day, which is 14 Earth days, which means that it can only perform experiments while there is sunlight, because the temperatures in the night on the moon is something it cannot sustain. Whereas Luna 25 was covered even on that front, where it could very much take the thermal, it had the thermal capacity to be able to withstand those temperatures. However, as Roscosmos had informed that it went into an unpredictable orbit, and then of course it crashed against the surface of the moon. So in that sense, our scientists are moving at the right pace. They are obviously keeping all the checks and balances. They are obviously trying to cover up even on any permutation, combination, or any factor that they may go wrong. They've already preempted it. So smooth sailing so far is how ISRO is predicting it, and we aim to land on the south pole of the moon, which is the first that India will achieve, because remember, India and Russia were the two nations who were planning to land on the south pole of the moon, and India, of course, 69 degrees off the south of the equator. So here it will be very, very challenging given the conditions of how the south pole of the moon is. No nation in that sense has ever landed on the south pole. So if India achieves this, we will not only be a part of the elite space club, where we will be the fourth nation to have landed on the moon, but other than that, to perform experiments at the south pole is going to be the first of its kind.
Right, so